Thank you for tuning in to Tanaka TV, the best and future biggest fight channel on YouTube. Don't forget to hit that like, that comment, that subscribe button. We're trying to get this channel to over 2K subs by the end of the year, and we cannot do that. This channel cannot do that without your support. So thank you for those who support this channel, and thank you for those who will support this channel in the future. I truly, truly appreciate it. Now, let's get right into it because I think there's a lot to unpack about the fights that we saw over this past weekend. Alex Pereira had a very impressive win over Khalil Rountree, and Juliana Pena had a really solid win over Raquel Pennington. And if we're going to dive right into it, I think we're going to start with Alex Pereira and him defeating Khalil Rountree. Now, I think it was a very impressive win for Alex Pereira. I think that he was put into some really tough positions. A lot of people expected that Khalil Rountree was just going to get kind of steamrolled by Alex Pereira and his striking capabilities and his skill. And that's not what you saw. What you saw was that Alex Pereira had to really pick his shots. He had to be really patient with Khalil Rountree because Khalil Rountree, I'm going to be honest, people, he was bringing the fight to Alex Pereira in many moments throughout the fight. And I was trying to tell people this in the past videos that I've posted, that Khalil Rountree is a very intelligent striker. He is a very mentally tough guy, and that is what we saw in the fight. We saw really good moments from Khalil. Despite the fact that Khalil was not throwing a lot of kicks, he threw a lot less kicks than I expected him to throw, especially in the early rounds. In round 1 and 2, Khalil Rountree was very boxing-centric, which was a bit surprising to me because Khalil Rountree is typically a very heavy kicker, and he went very boxing-specific, and it was successful in many moments. He had a really high guard, and it made Alex Pereira have to think for a little bit because I think in Alex Pereira's past couple of fights, he didn't really have to think about a defense that was fairly equipped for his striking skill set. And so I think Khalil Rountree looked really strong throughout the first maybe 2.5 rounds, and then he started to weigh a bit. And you really started to see Alex Pereira's experience in longer fights come into play and weigh in on body shots, mixing up his body shots into uppercut and the hook. And he did a really good job at controlling the cage and not allowing Khalil Rountree to really dictate the pace. Alex Pereira is a dangerous guy when it comes to this striking department, and we knew going into it that Khalil Rountree was not going to bring much of a grappling centered focus into this. He was coming to knock out Alex Pereira, which a lot of us think is a tall tree to climb, and Alex Pereira got it done. In the 4th round, he pretty much started to melt Khalil Rountree towards the mid to late portion of the 3rd round, and it carried over into the 4th, and ultimately he was able to finish Khalil Rountree. Now, I say all of this as a lead up to what is next for Alex Pereira. I think the light heavyweight division is at the weakest point that it's been at in a very long time. I'm looking at this light heavyweight division now, and I'm going to be honest, people, there's really not a lot of high quality threat here. We're sitting at, number 10, Carlos, and number 9, Johnny Walker. Number 8 was Khalil Rountree, and 7, you got Nikita Krylov, and 6, you got Volkan Ozdemir, who I think is, I don't even remember the last time I've seen Ozdemir fight. And we've got Alexander at number 5, Jan at 4, Jamal Hill at 3, Magomed at 2. I think the next fight maybe for Alex would be Magomed. I think the possible Achilles heel right now for Alex Pereira is the grappling department. I really do. I feel like, when it comes to the striking game, he owns it. He's probably the best striker that we have right now in the UFC. There's really not a lot of people that you could really mention that would even be close. Maybe Izzy, because, Izzy has a very similar background when it comes to Alex Pereira, and we've seen those two fight multiple times inside the octagon and inside, the kickboxing ring. So I would say Izzy would be the closest one. I think Max Holloway is also, when it comes to the striking department, Max Holloway should always be a mention. But besides those three, I think it's really not close. And so when you look at the light heavyweight division and you look at who would be next for Alex Pereira, really the only person that really pops out is Magomed. And Alex Pereira probably beats him too. So what would be next for Alex Pereira? I don't know. Moving up would be interesting, I think, as long as Jon Jones is holding the title. And I know that there was a lot of talk about Jon Jones and Alex Pereira fighting each other, but I don't think that's going to happen, especially because Jon Jones said that he plans on retiring after he plans on beating Stipe. So unfortunately, people were not going to be able to see that fight, and I think that would be a terrible matchup for Alex Pereira specifically. Him going into Khalil Rountree, that was a great matchup for Alex Pereira. So we need to see Alex Pereira go up against somebody who would be considered a terrible matchup for Alex Pereira. And I think the closest person to really be a terrible matchup was Jan, and you saw how that fight went. It was an uncomfortable matchup for Alex Pereira. Yes, he was able to pull that fight out, but it was not by any means his most dominant fight. So I think Alex Pereira has more to prove in that department, and I would really like to see more from Alex when it comes from somebody who poses difficulty in the grappling aspect of fighting. But hats off to Alex Pereira. He put on a phenomenal performance. He really showed grit. He showed a lot of composure in this fight. And he proved why he is the king of the light heavyweight division. And I know Joe Rogan asked him, would you like to, move up? Would you like to move down? Because there's Duplessis in the lighter division. You got, the heavyweight division. What's next? And he said that he likes being in the light heavyweight division. He really likes to cut at the 205 range. And I'm going to be honest, I really think Alex Pereira is at his best at the 205, and I don't really see much of resistance there. So we're going to see how this all unfolds. And I think we're going to see him possibly move up eventually, but I don't think we're going to see it within the next one or two fights. I think we've got to let him simmer a bit at that light heavyweight division. So congratulations to Alex Pereira, and we're gonna see how this unfolds. You guys, on the next video we're gonna talk about Juliana Pena and her performance against Raquel Pennington, and we're actually gonna talk about more about judges. I feel like I keep bringing up judging because judging just doesn't seem to be a major focus right now when it comes to the problems of the UFC, and I think it's probably the biggest problem currently. So comment down below what you would like to see next from Alex Pereira, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.